Welcome to Walktober and the Last Green Valley with Chief Ranger Bill Reed
and Lead Ranger Marcy Dolly. And we're very excited to be celebrating the 25th, yes, the 25th Walktober with you. Now, Chief Ranger Bill, let's clarify, what exactly is Walktober and what is the Last Green Valley?
The Last Green Valley is a place with 35 towns. It's in northeast Connecticut and south central Massachusetts. And it is still 77% forest and farmlands.
And the Last Green Valley Incorporated is a wonderful organization, nonprofit, member supported. And what we do is work very hard with so many people and groups to help us all care for, enjoy, and pass on this very special region.
And Walktober is a month-long program that offers you a chance to visit familiar places or introduce to you eye-opening and brand new experiences and discoveries in the National Heritage Corridor.
We certainly couldn't do it without our passionate and knowledgeable leaders. These volunteer leaders this year have stepped up to bring us over 200 choices. There are guided walks, paddles, bike rides, events, tours, and so much more.
So let's meet some of the walk leaders and see what's going on during Walktober in the Last Green Valley National Heritage Corridor.
I can't wait. And remember, keep up to date on our website, which is thelastgreenvalley.org, and on our Facebook page. And we do have a question. We want to know, do you Walktober? So Chief Ranger Bill, who is our first guest?
Well, let's see.
Get one of our guidebooks and more information on Walktober 2015 from the Last Green Valley's website at TLGV.org.
Okay, welcome to the Walktober Show, and we'd like to introduce our first guest today, Linda Auger from Taylor Brook Winery, and she's here because she is doing a Walktober for us this year.
I am. The first one, I think.
It is the first one. It's October 1st, right? That would be the first one.
It is.
Tell us about Taylor Brook Winery and tell us about the walk that you've organized for us this year.
Well, this is the second walk that I've actually done. The years have gone by quickly. It was back in the day when it was walking weekends, and I volunteered to do one on a Friday, thinking that, and being assured that it would probably be a small group of people that might come out on a Friday. However, I had 75 people show up for this walk, and I thought, oh my goodness, I can't do this again on a day that we're normally opened. But now that it's the entire month of October, we have all the days of the month to choose from. I decided it was time to do that, offer that again, and as early as I could. And I guess I can't get any earlier than October 1st.
Well, I have been Walktobering for 10 years now. Actually, I went to a lot of them before I came on the staff at the Last Green Valley. And I will say that the farms and the orchards and the wineries, for some reason, they are some of the most popular walks that we have. Tell us about what people might see when they're up at your walk.
Well, they're certainly going to see the vines, and it all starts with the grapevines. And they're going to have an opportunity to see a very mature vineyard versus one that's only been growing for 2 years, and to compare and contrast those differences between the vines. It's I think it's interesting to note that when they start to grow, they look like a dead stick, and then within a year or two, you've got this this huge grapevine. So they'll get to see that. We'll talk about the differences. This year has been a very unusual year weather-wise in that we've had a very long, hot growing season, very dry, as you know, and that has actually pushed the grapes into an early ripening. So we will have very few grapes left for folks to see, but they'll see them. They'll get to see them.
And I guess they'll see that any kind of farming is not just putting something in the ground and walking away. There's a lot of work to it.
There's a lot of work to it, and it starts with the day we put them in the ground. We still have to fertilize. We still have to, take care of them, and then through the winter and then the spring. Spraying still occurs, no matter how small they are, to keep diseases at bay, particularly molds and mildews during our very humid weather that we have here in New England. And so that even though they're not fruiting yet, they still need to be taken care of, and then they need to be trained, and we do that all by hand.
Wow.
And so folks will get to see and
That's
get an
great to see,
idea of
yes.
how much handwork there really is.
And
How
then,
many-
once you have the grapes, then you still have
Do
to
the
make
good
the
stuff.
wine.
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. We're, in fact, today we're harvesting our Treminette grapes, the Treminette, and we'll talk about why these grape varietals are ones that people are not familiar with, and why we don't grow Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, and why we have these oddball name grapes. We'll talk about the fact that what the differences are in our weather and what we have to grow. But we are picking today, and so they'll go through a crush to stem process where the stems are taken very gently away from the grapes. We will then begin the fermentation process, and in this case, this is a white grape. So they're probably press in a few days. I'm not sure exactly. Didn't talk to my husband, who's the winemaker, to see exactly when he'll press, and that's determined year by year how those grapes actually come forward. So that's what we're in the middle of right now. It's harvest, pressing.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's very, very exciting.
And you have a shop there. Will people be able to sample wine from you when they're there also?
Yeah, actually, we're going to treat everyone to two samples of our estate-grown wine, which means all the grapes are from our vineyard.
Right.
They'll get to try a white and a red. And then certainly they can browse the gift shop if they'd like, and see what we have to offer, and then hopefully make plans to come back maybe with some friends and family, and bring a little picnic lunch and sit by the vines or sit under the pavilion and enjoy the wine.
It's a beautiful location.
Yeah.
It's a great place to
especially
visit.
this time of the year. We're starting to get the color change. So
Right.
And this Walktober does need pre-registration.
it does.
So the information is in our Walktober brochure, so you want to make sure you have this. Taylor Brook Winery also has great Facebook presence, and I just saw recently a video showing the machine that separates the
crushed
grapes from the
stemmer.
vine.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you can learn a lot before you get there. Come with your questions. Make sure you ask Linda, because she has a lot of knowledge about this and she wants to share it. One of the things I love about Taylor Brook is the personal touch. And my favorite wine is the Wine Dog 1. Now, we know that's not made from a dog, but what's the story of Wine Dog 1?
Well, our original winery dog, Zima, she was a very special dog. She would meet and greet everyone coming through the door. She didn't rush at you. She was very, she was the queen. And
I remember.
And she would saunter over and make sure that, she got her attention. And then when you went out into the vineyard, she would go out with folks, and as though it was her vineyard, she would take them through.
It was her vineyard.
It was her vineyard. She was out there every single day. And when she passed away over 3 years ago, we really wanted to do something special in her memory, and also to support shelters for animals, because unfortunately there are lots of dogs and cats and even other animals that need adopting. So we donate $1 per bottle sold of the Wine Dog 1 that has her image on the label.
That's great.
And we donate it to the Worcester Mass Animal Rescue League, because that's where we adopted her from.
Oh, wonderful.
And we've given them $6,000 in
my
3
goodness.
vintages. So
That's how we do it in the Last Green Valley. We
right.
give back and we chip in and we do it together.
Yeah.
I guess I know what kind of wine I'm going to get when you go up
Should.
there. What kind are you going to get?
I'm going to get Wine Dog 1.
You're going to get Wine Dog
that's
1?
my favorite.
That's her favorite, yeah.
It's great for gifts as well.
Well,
so.
Linda, thank you so much for coming on the Walktober show. You're our first guest here, October 1st, Taylor Brook
1st.
Winery in Woodstock. It's a great, great place. So
Come
we
meet
hope that
Linda
you-
at Vines, Wines, and Pleasant Times.
That's right. We'll be right back with another guest on the Walktober show.
We sure will.
Get one of our guidebooks and more information on Walktober 2015 from the Last Green Valley's website at TLGV.org.
Welcome back to the Walktober program, and we'd like to now introduce our Walktober leader. It's Steve Roenfeld from Southbridge Recreation. And Southbridge is one of the 35 towns in our National Heritage Corridor. And Steve has really got some great programming year-round in Southbridge, but he's going to want to talk about his Walktober that he has this year. There's a few things going on. Steve himself is leading one. So Steve, you've got a family bike ride going on up there this year. What is that all about?
Yeah, so with that ride, we are basically meeting at Westville Recreation Area, a great resource that Southbridge shares with some of our partner communities. And so basically, we're just going to meet and just head down the river. So on the Titanic Rail Trail, family bike ride. So kind of bring a snack, go at a slow pace. It's a beautiful ride, elevated above the river. We'll head out to, there's a kind of a beautiful bridge that crosses the river a couple miles in. We'll stop, have lunch or snack, depending on the time of day, and then just kind of leisurely come back. And it's really an out-and-out back. So, you know, if a family kind of needs to, you know, if a kid's breaking down and needs to go back, they can easily go back and, you know, head back to the parking lot and things like that. But it's a gorgeous, you know, the fall, hopefully the leaves are still in good color, or at least giving that kind of fall feel. Yeah. And it's a nice flat. It's a rail, you know, old rail bed, so it's beautifully flat. You know, kids of all ages and adults of all ages can really enjoy this ride along the river.
That's great. And this place sounds like a place that maybe if somebody hasn't discovered it yet, this is a great way to come and try it out with a group. So then they have the support. And that's the greatest thing about Walktober. You go to a new place. These families might return back to that location again and again, I would think.
Oh yeah, and it's such a great resource. If you've never been there, it's a great place with a vast array of different styles of trails for all levels, and it's just gorgeous. There's river, there's a lake. It's wonderful.
And since it's a rail trail, would a mountain bike be sufficient, or would any type of bike be able to?
Most any casual bike or mountain bike would be fine. I mean, you wouldn't probably want to be on a 25mm road bike, but anything above that is going to be adequate. And kids can, you know, we'll have strollers are fine. I might be pulling either my trailer bike or pull behind.
I thought you talked like a dad.
Yeah, yeah, my kids will definitely be there, so it'll be fun.
And so that's on Saturday, October 3rd. Yeah. So that's early on in the month. Now, the nice thing is that same weekend, on Sunday, there's going to be a Walktober called Clueless in Westville.
Yeah, so actually at the same location, we'll be doing a hike, and it's a scavenger hunt. So there'll be, when you show up, there'll be a little worksheet and all kinds of little different things to find in and around the Westville Recreation Area. So, you know, the different questions and the different things to explore are going to be, you know, natural history things. So, you know, can you find this particular bird box? And what kind of birds do you think are using that box throughout the year? There's different places for some of the history. So, you know, there was factories in this recreation area that you can barely see the remnants of, but there's a few pieces there. So there's just these little clues throughout Westville as you go around the lake that you can find and explore.
Very family friendly.
Very family friendly. Yep, it's designed for all ages. Yep.
I see it's being organized by my old friend Ken Pickren.
Yep, and he's the contact person. Yep.
Now, do people need to call him first? Can they just
this one is not a pre-registration.
Okay,
you can just show up to this one. But if you needed more information, his number's listed in the Walktober calendar.
Well, Marcy, Southbridge has really stepped up this year with a lot of great events. It's great to see that. And certainly great to see so many things at Westville. You know, it's a Corps of Engineers property. The Quinnebog River comes right through there. There's events there throughout the year. The Quinnebog River Race, usually the last Sunday in April, ends at Westville. And so there's a great place to go, and people will go down there and check it out during certainly these two walks. What else have we got in Southbridge coming up for Walktober? There's a couple other things too.
Well, speaking of the Quinnebog River, we're also doing another bike ride. This one is still fairly family friendly, but more adolescents, 10 or 12-year-olds.
A little more challenging.
Because it's a little more challenging based on the surface. It's still an even rail bed, but it's not stone dust. It's a little rougher. So mountain bikes would be more advisable. You want a little thicker tire for stability. But again, a gorgeous ride along the river in one of our trails that head out of Southbridge. And again, another out and back that's just it's really the key of the group, or the pace of the group, is going to determine how long and how far and how fast. So
And that's later in the month?
That's later in the month, yep. It's on the 15th.
Oops, I'm sorry,
I'm sorry,
the 18th.
the 18th, yep,
Right,
the
right.
18th. And it's that is a pre-registration. He wants to know kind of how many people are showing up. So the number, you're going to contact Scott Benoit, another really good friend of the Last Green Valley. And yeah, and it's the trail, the Quinnebog Trail is right on 131 across from the Golden Greek restaurant. So even though the trail is not really easily identified, the Golden Greek restaurant is, and so that's kind of your landmark for finding.
Yeah, I just stopped there last week and took a little walk there myself to check it out.
It's a beautiful
And
spot.
so we're lucky because in the Last Green Valley, we've got these 35 towns, and they're really all pretty close. And you can go to Westville, or you can go on a rail trail, and you can take a half a day, and you can just feel like $1,000,000 when you're done. It's a great way to clear your mind and enjoy the natural resources, and you don't have to take very long to do it. So we're pretty lucky. Southbridge, too, they're going to have a nice artsy sort of a thing at the library as a part of Walktober. And there's a new book out called Water Rising, and the topic of that Walktober is Can Art Save Nature? And they're going to do a book discussion and just kind of enjoy the book and some of the things that bring us all together here in the Last Green Valley, the art and the nature, and this book really speaks to that. So Southbridge, there's a million reasons to visit it. The Recreation Department is doing things year-round, like I mentioned. They have summer concerts all year long, right into the fall, as recent as last week. So take a few minutes and get to Southbridge and learn what it's about. Beautiful architecture, wonderful people. Get out in the Last Green Valley and enjoy it. And Walktober is a great place to start.
Well, thank you, Steve, for coming on the Walktober show. And we'll be right back with another guest.
Thank you.
Get one of our guidebooks and more information on Walktober 2015 from the Last Green Valley's website at TLGV.org.
Welcome back to the Walktober show. We're delighted to have with us this morning Robin Chesmer from the Farmer's Cow. Now, I've been drinking Farmer's Cow milk and eating your ice cream for a few years now, and we're so delighted to have him here. And he's done a lot of wonderful programs for Walktober, wonderful dairy farms, great opportunities to get out and see some of the great farms that we have here in the Last Green Valley. So Robin, thank you for showing up today and joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Tell us specifically first about the Farmer's Cow and what it is.
Well, the Farmer's Cow is a group of 6 farms in eastern Connecticut. They got together actually 10 years ago this month to market our milk. We launched our milk in the early October 10 years ago, so it's a significant anniversary. Today our milk is sold across the entire state of Connecticut and beyond, and we're in every major supermarket, a lot of fine independents. Milk is served at schools and universities, so we're very, very pleased the way it's grown.
So when you buy Farmer's Cow milk, you know the farm that it's coming from. That's what's so great. I mean, I drive by 2 or 3 of Farmer's Cow farms in the neighborhood where I live, and it's so great to know that the milk that I'm going to drink today, or the ice cream I'm going to use, came from well, 6 farms together. But to know the farmers and know the people that are actually raising the cows and milking the cows, that's a special thing, isn't it?
It is, and we open up our farms